Hello internet friends, so I had a bit of a surprise this morning. Mr. Bezos at Amazon has sent me a Christmas present. He's not wrapped it or anything, but he's a busy man. But I happen to know what it is. It's the Mandalorian in Beskar armor from the Hasbro Black Series underneath my tree. So I'm going to unbox this and crucially I'm going to compare it to the Figuarts Mandalorian of the same ilk. It's basically the same character but by that different company with supposedly the higher detail, but the Black Series is getting really good these days. So I'm going to see how the two compare. Maybe you're thinking about getting them this Christmas and you can see them side by side. Here's the one that I unboxed the other day and it's a very snazzy figure with lots of articulation, but let's see how the Black Series compares. So I've got a better camera this time, a better microphone, hopefully. I'm really not liking Apple these days. I was using my Apple iPad. Well, it's an iPad mini, so I suppose I can't really complain about that. The camera on it is really old, but this is my new phone, so we can use that one. One day I'll get a proper mic for these unboxings and stuff. We go around the edge. The big decision is, are you going to collect Black Series Nap or are you going to collect the Figuarts? This will be the deciding factor. So it's more than just, you know, this particular figure. It's to do with like what you collect. Black Series is going to be a lot cheaper. That's the only thing, but you know, it's not as great articulation. Well, first impressions are pretty good. You get rid of that. There he is. I actually really like the box. They changed the boxes recently so that it just has that slight angle and it has like an image on the side, so you can kind of line them all up on your shelf and have them all nice and lined up, and it creates like an image along the side, so you kind of collect them all kind of thing. But yeah, and actually not too bad looking initially at the two of them. The Mandalorian in the packet, the Figuarts is a bit shinier, which is to be expected, I think. In the Star Wars Galaxies, that's the game that I cover the most on the internet, that's why I'm saying Galaxies. The Star Wars collecting community, there's a lot of stuff about the fact that it's not vac metalized. All the shiny bits like on C-3PO and R2-D2, they all used to be vac metalized, and these days they can't do it. Hasbro was saying, oh, it's all to do with cost. We can't do that how we used to do it. Things are much more expensive these days. How much you believe that? I don't know. Oh shoot, has that ripped it? I just want to be careful with these, taking all these little bits off. There we go. I don't know why, you know, when it's obviously for collectors, why they don't do some kind of special sellotape, collector's sellotape that will just come off without ripping the package. And like I say, depending on what I decide to collect, I might be reselling these, so I need the package to stay okay. There he is with all his gear. So with him, much fewer parts than the Figuarts. They come with all kinds of stuff, but I kind of appreciate the simplicity of the Black Series. I want to display this stuff, but I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time setting it up and things. It's more straightforward. Look at how dull that's really sort of meh compared to the other one. It's just a chunk of grey. His backpack, and they make a big point of that being shiny in the show. That's kind of a little bit disappointing. Blaster, well, rifle, chunk of grey plastic. Not quite as impressive as it is in the television show. Okay, Mr. Mandalorian and Beskar. Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's grey. It's flipping grey. It's not silver at all. Going on with this? There he is. It looks very thin. A thin chappy. Immediately obvious that the cape. Now this is something that I was complaining about with the Figuarts, but it looks like the cape is going to come off this guy, because otherwise how do you get the backpack on? Anyway, I'll look at that in a second. I just want to check out all the things you can move. So you can swivel his hands, get replacement ones with the Figuarts. Actually, that articulation seems pretty good to me. The detail is great, but the first thing that jumps out at me, having unboxed the Figuarts, is how dull this is. It's literally, I mean, it's virtually, it's not silver, it's more grey. Where's his little pistol? I like to try the fiddly things first. See how it fits in the hand. This feels a lot less fragile than the Figuarts, however. It feels a lot more robust. Get in there. It kind of fits. Kind of does. Can I put it all the way in there and then clip it in? It does. You just have to force it in there. And there is it looks like the wrist is on a swivel. I kind of like that, actually. I really do like that. So that's his thing there. And the other thing, I guess, is the rifle. So, oh, and the holster actually works. Does it? It does! Could stick his gun in his holster. I like that. I kind of actually prefer that to the Figuarts. It's a complete fiddly mess trying to get that holster swapped around with the Figuarts figure. So you can really you can actually bend it quite a lot. That's not bad, you know. And they're a lot cheaper, the Black Series. So it's kind of like, how good are they for that cheaper price? Let's try and get the backpack on. You see, I don't want to just yank his head off. But I can't see a way to unpeel it. You can kind of pull it, twist it. I mean, I'm gonna risk it. It doesn't feel like it wants to come off. So you can sort of, but that, if you're taking it on and off repeatedly, it's gonna start, there's a chance it's gonna snap eventually, that rubber, because I know that rubber decays over time. So backpack, you know, I was looking at that after doing that other video and wanting to take his backpack off. Actually, in the series, he does wear his cape an awful lot when he's flying around in his backpack, flying around with his long cape, and I think it eventually gets burnt off, because in the new series it's like it's only down to about there, it's all frayed at the bottom. So I think he does wear his cape while he's flying around. So you go cape on or cape off if you're going to do the backpack thing with this guy. And then the gun, this is the moment of truth. How does this fit together? Can you have a hand that grips the pistol and also grips this in a convincing fashion? All right, that's not bad. It's gone in. Finger through the thing, please. Can you do that? Can you do that? You can. Fantastic. So there you go. And then hold it like that. I guess it kind of looks like, if he's shooting, he needs to face it forward. Now with the Figuarts, what you could do is you could pull that up and kind of do this front facing, like shooting pose. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. Kind of, that's about as close as you can get to it. Like that. But yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I wouldn't be too disappointed with that if I got that for 20 quid for Christmas. Let's see if we can get him actually standing up and looking a little bit cool. It's good. It's good. It's just a shame. It has those kind of limitations that action figures for me have always had, which is, you know, obviously you've got a rifle. You want him to be able to be shooting it forward. It doesn't quite work. I'm going to see if I can put the backpack on with... I don't think there's a way to put the backpack on with the cape. Let's look at the two side by side, because that was the point of this video, to see how this compares to the figure art. So I'm going to do that. Just fiddling around a little bit more with it. And actually that is pretty impressive. If you do it in a profile like that, you can get him firing the rifle straight on. That looked pretty good. I wanted, you know, the bit where he's on the hilltop shooting the Jawas. That's what I wanted to reproduce. So you can kind of do it, and you can. That's pretty good for the arm. You can get it up like that. The arms are pretty impressive. I'm not sure what you can do with the kneeling with this guy. Yeah, you can't quite get him to kneel because, you know, that's in the way. The shin, the thigh guard and stuff on the side, and the blaster. So you can't quite get him kneeling down, but you can move the legs a fair amount. I think he's going to look good on display. The question is, does he look as good as the figure arts thing? That's I guess we've got to put the two side by side to see. So I'm not sure if it comes across on camera just how much more shiny this one is than the Black Series. There's no comparison in person as to which one looks the most impressive, which one does the Beskar armor the most justice. And I don't know, my thoughts are this just looks more well proportioned all over. I've heard some people saying they think the helmet is too small, and maybe it is a little bit, but he just looks, you know, more filled out. This guy looks a little bit scrawny by comparison, don't you think? But I think I'm getting to realize what the difference between these figures are, and it's kind of a trade-off between quality and what you want from an action figure. Like this guy is really, I think, for the connoisseur and someone who loves to labor time posing, maybe doing dioramas, that kind of thing, and really making them look the best possible. I actually appreciate some of the simplicity of the Black Series one. I've already mentioned the gun, which was a big deal for me with the figure arts figure. I haven't even put it in because it was such a pain in the butt to get the holster to actually sit there and stay there. It falls off all the time. As you can see, as I say, I'm a noob with this stuff, but can you see that? It's starting to fray just as I manipulate the figure and stuff. You have to be a lot more careful with this guy. And I suppose that makes sense. It's a more premium figure, but this guy, I feel like I can just stick him on my shelf and there's my representation of the Mandalorian, and I don't have to think about it again. So I'm really undecided at this stage, but I'm erring towards a Black Series just for what I want out of the characters. I don't want to be spending this much money on something that is a little bit better, but I just want a representation of the character. And the other thing with the Black Series, there's many more figures to collect, you know, as new characters are introduced into the Star Wars thing. These come out very infrequently. When they do, they're fantastic, like this guy, but very infrequent. So yeah, I'm kind of erring towards the Black Series, even though it does have its limitations, you know, but it's great you get 12 or something hands, but each time you want to switch something up on this guy, it takes half an hour to pull that. I'm exaggerating for emphasis, but it takes such a long time to reconfigure it. This guy, you just take his flipping gun out of his hand, you can twist the plastic. I just want his blaster in his hand now. I only want it to take 2 minutes for me to do that because I'm a flipping heathen. You know, I just want his blaster in his hand. So for me, that's about the level of interaction that I want with my action figures. I don't want to be spending a lot of time messing around as you have to do with this more premium figure. So yeah, be very mindful of what you want from the figure. If you want super high detail and accuracy, you're going to go for the figure arts. But if you want something that is a little bit cheaper, a representation of the character, then you're fine. It's on your shelf and you can admire it from a distance. You're not going to interact too much. But then you know, if you interact with this, you got to be careful. I'm fraying all his cloak is starting to fray and things. This sometimes, you know, and I feel like this guy, he is a little bit lankier. Sorry, Figure Arts, I'm moving you off to the side there. But the way he's holding his gun and the fact that his hip swivels like that does make me feel like you can kind of almost get that gunfighter pose that he does when he's about to go for his gun in the series. And I kind of like the profile of the figure there, like that. I think that looks kind of nice. I'm sure you can do it with that one. But again, it would take half an hour for me to change the hands, put the gun in. This guy, I've just messed around with it and it's done. So yeah, I hope that's an interesting look at the figures for you, me waffling on about these various action figures. And I mean, the other thing is the cape, of course. This is a big... Let me see if this will show off the difference in the shininess between the two. This is literally a lump of grey plastic. This is actually a little bit, it's not vac metalized, but it's metallic. So if that's important to you, shininess, Figure Arts seem to be doing that. Hasbro is just dead set against doing anything shiny. They've done a good job with the Razor Crest, but that's blown up now. So never mind, guys. All right, so let me just stick his cloak in for the final shot. There's also no way that I've found to sling the rifle anywhere when he's... And the Figure Arts has a whole thing. So you can wear the rifle, have the gun. You can even... I don't think you can do the rifle and the backpack, the jetpack, but you can do pretty much everything. So he looks like he's got his gun over his shoulder and everything. You have to kind of choose with this guy, I guess. But if you want to have a closer look at this dude, and the stuff that he can do, I'll put a link up to my unboxing with him where I do some more stuff with him just to try stuff out. But this is really growing on me. I kind of like it. I kind of like the thinness of it. He looks like a gunfighter. This guy looks a little bit like a wrestler. He's chunkier. But I kind of like this. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a like if you did and sub up. And I might do some more of these. I think I'm airing with Black Series. You let me know what you think in the comments, which I should go with. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.